Okay, everyone, welcome in. We made it through the technical difficulties. So here we are. So thank you for your perseverance. Thank you to Karen for persevering through the technology. I've been having all kinds of issues with technology, so it may have been me um, and impacting energies and everything. So who knows? But it's good to see everyone here. As usual, we'll go ahead and if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and start posting those, and we'll offer those. Um, and welcome to those of you who are new as well to the space. So this is a guided practice, and so you get everything that you need just right in the chat box, the mantras and prayers and everything that we use. So don't worry about that. Welcome back to everyone who's new as well. Um, I want to continue just doing some work around just like energy and just connecting to the spring, to this energy of the spring. And for me, the energy of the spring is really, as I think we talked about last week, I can't really keep everything together. I give so many teachings in a week that I don't know which space it is. And I start talking about things. Really, honestly, I just talk about the same thing everywhere in every space I find myself in. But if we did talk about this last week, I apologize. But I do want to mention briefly, right, the energy of the spring and this energy of awakening, which I did think we talked about it last week, actually. But in any case, how do we open up to the energy around us, right? How do we open up to this awakening energy of rebirth, right? We just finished Easter yesterday, and I just think that that's what we're working with. Of course, Easter is also the celebration of um, this kind of Western European goddess, Ostara, which is less, she's less known than other gods, but goddesses and so forth. But Easter absorbed many of the festival celebrations of Ostara, including like Easter eggs and candy and pastel colors and rabbits. That Ostara was like the goddess um, of spring. She's also been called the goddess of the dawn, of the new day. So this is still this energy of resurrection. Um, and and seeing this energy also as an expression of medicine Buddha as well. Because really the point of all of this, all the work that we've been doing, and we're coming up. I guess we're right at a year of this space um, happening on Monday nights. But the point, I think, or the agenda, if I could use that word, of the space is to for us to connect to the innate energy of healing around us, which I understand to be an expression of medicine Buddha, right? That wherever healing happens, that healing becomes um, the awakening, the blessing of medicine Buddha. You um, so over and over, we get introduced to the essence, to the consciousness of medicine Buddha. But medicine Buddha's consciousness is the same consciousness of all wisdom deities. You know, um, but the skillfulness, you know, of the pantheon of deities within tantric Buddhist traditions is that like many other pantheons across different spiritual paths and religions, there are many beings, gods, deities, and so forth that arise, that offer a special blessing, a special connection, um, to people. So these beings become ways, um, for ordinary people like us to connect to a source of sacredness, of divine divinity, or helps us to connect to, um, this spaciousness. Is this, it's so it's playing on our, um, it plays on our, um, this word just keeps like skipping off of my tongue. Every time I'm about to say it, it just disappears. It's like, no, see ya. It plays on our, I just want to say likes and dislikes, but our preferences. That's the word, preferences. You know, like some of us, you know, um, don't like, or we're just not drawn to certain deities for some reason. Oh, they're not the right color. I don't like the iconography. You but we're drawn to others. And that's the skillfulness of it. So like we just have these preferences, and some of these preferences are so deeply rooted in the subconscious that we don't even know why we're drawn to certain deities and not to others, but that's the preference that we have. Like, for instance, I came into Tibetan Buddhism. I loved all the deities. I loved all the iconographies. The fiercer they were, the more I was into them. You know, and I would see other people come into the tradition, and they would just be completely turned off by all the iconography. It's like what we need, like one of those deeply expressed, but also can be subconscious things. Is that, oh, I need this thing, but I can't articulate it, but I'm drawn to this. And in my practice, deities just kind of show up, and it's not really rooted within Tibetan Buddhism or Vajrayana, but there are deities that come that I'm drawn to from across different paths, and that's fine. You know, um, Often we're the ones who try to categorize deities into different traditions and groups, and this and that, but many of these deities are the same deities across different traditions. I think Oshun is Tara, and Mother Mary, and Kali, and all the mothers. I find that to be really extremely fascinating too. But if you study like deity pantheons, you see these pantheons. Like right now, I'm studying Nordic mythology. It's just so many similarities. That I'm drawing with other pantheons that I'm familiar with. Who's to say that the same deities don't masquerade across various spiritual paths, and traditions? In any case, getting back to what we're exploring is, you know, that preference, I think, is a deep karmic attraction to something, and that karmic attraction, I think, we can trust. You know, um, and if we trust it, and there's an opening that happens, like when I allow myself to be drawn to medicine Buddha, then I tend to allow myself to trust what's happening between me and medicine Buddha, and that helps me to feel disarmed, not open up, and that opening is where this kind of healing happens, right? To use not, there are more precise words than healing, but there's a transference of awakening, a transference of clarity, When I let go and I lean into this affinity that I have, and that's actually the word affinity instead of preference. I have an affinity towards certain practices and certain beings and certain deities, and I trust that affinity. That affinity allows me to bloom, to blossom, and that can be the practice, right? That can be all the practice that you do to allow yourself to sit within a contemplation of the deity or the presence of the deity, right? And to allow yourself to open, to bloom. Um, and that blooming, often maybe we're experiencing deep love, deep compassion. Maybe we're experiencing a kind of stillness, right? That stillness is the heartbeat of the deity, the stillness. So we move into the stillness, we lean into the stillness, and we get wrapped and held and nurtured by the stillness. And that stillness that's where we really begin to talk to the deities. That's where the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas arise, right, within that stillness. Um, that's particularly um, the abode of the wisdom deities, you know, these enlightened deities that have realized the nature of their minds, right? And so they abide within emptiness itself, and space itself, right? And of course, this space and emptiness is deeply imbued with this energy. Sometimes we may call that suchness, but that suchness is how they take form. Of course, that suchness is how all phenomena takes form. But when you have developed, and you've achieved awakening, enlightenment, you have ultimate agency over this energy, that permeates emptiness. There's an agency there, and that agency is used to shape this energy at will, because these beings have realized the emptiness of everything. They are the perfection of compassion, right? Because they completely realize the nature of everything, especially ego, right? And so their arising is nothing but a project in the most perfect compassion imaginable. And I want you all to think about this more this week. This recording is present, so I want you to come back if you want to just to listen to this and to really think about it. You know, um, like I was never by any of my teachers, especially my root teacher. I was never taught a lot of this stuff. This is stuff that I've had to understand through my own experience, right? And through other teachers too, but mostly through my own experience. And I think it's so helpful for us to have this understanding. Like for me, this kind of information, this teaching kind of it helps me to trust the practice more, right? Instead of this being this huge mysterious thing, which is not, it becomes this project. Practice becomes this project where I'm like, oh, this is what's happening. This is what emptiness is. This is what's happening, right? This is what I'm trying to do. This is what medicine Buddha is. It is medicine Buddha is this and it's that, and it's everything, and it's nothing at the same time. It's all of that. You know. But all that's happening is that we're being called into this profound relationship with this non-linear expression, of wisdom, clarity. You know, and often, these days, often my practice is just sitting and allowing myself to, to be wrapped in the stillness. Um, to be wrapped in the silence. The stillness, of course, stillness and silence are not the same thing as well. Stillness and silence are not, you know, because because there's chaos doesn't mean that there's also stillness happening. And that the stillness is present, but again, we talked about this before, it's like magic eye. It's like you take those magic eye books that are super popular, particularly when I was a teenager, like the magic eye books, and you just stare at the picture until your eyes adjust and pull out the image, this 3D in depth image. And this is what practice often is, and particularly practicing with stillness is learning to sit and tune into the stillness that's always arising within everything. The stillness within both the peace and the stillness also within the chaos. Both. So we're just gonna just casually kind of begin moving into the practice, but hopefully you already started. Right? So we're gonna start working with the stillness, and the stillness isn't something you're looking for or searching for. There shouldn't be this kind of like effort, right? You know, let stillness arise, right? And the stillness, again, is the presence of the deity. I mean, you find yourself in that stillness, you allow that stillness to become what you need it to be it medicine Buddha, be it Tara, be it Chinrezi, know, be it Kali, But if Kali arises for you, I can't help you. You're on your own. um, but it arises the what you need, the medicine that's needed arises when we allow it to arise within the stillness. This is, such a, I can't tell you how beautiful that kind of practice is. That the medicine arises if we allow the medicine to arise. The medicine of Medicine Buddha is related to Medicine Buddha's inherent stillness and space and openness. That stillness infiltrates every part of all the myriad ways that we express ourselves, all the different bodies that we're serving, physical, energetic, emotional, collective, ego, all of that. All the bodies that we are serving, the stillness is an expression of all these different expressions of who we are. Oops, sorry. All right. So I want to as we're moving deeper into this, I actually want to start with Medicine Buddha's opening mantra. Um, Min la sange kino soha, right? So, again, Medicine Buddha, please know me, please think of me, please hold me, please see me. So, min la sange kino soha. And start, and we, when we start chanting this together, um, as you're chanting, allowing, just allowing, is the practice tonight. Allowing this mantra to open something. You figure out what is opening. Just allow it to open, to expand, to let go. Figuring out what that is. All right, we'll begin. Om la sange kino soha. 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 So allowing this awakening consciousness of Medicine Buddha to wash over you, to fill the space that you're sitting in. Just allowing it. Just allow it. Again, don't reach for anything, don't search for it, don't strive, don't feel anxious. Just allow. As we often say, space and spaciousness is one of the blessings of the deity. So when we fill that space, what often happens is that we begin to experience all the stuff that we've been pushing away. Begin to feel the brokenheartedness, the fear, and the anxiety. We can also experience the happiness, the gratitude, the joy. And one way we can say that only one thing can be felt at once, but in reality, in the actuality of mind and awareness, everything is felt at once. And in the stillness, I would like to offer our prayers. And again, listening to the prayers, allowing yourself to be touched by the prayers, allowing the heart, right, to be touched. Then once the heart is touched, offering the energy of this prayer into this experience of stillness. Just like it feels like the little paper boats that sometimes some of us used to make, and we just make these little paper boats and then put it on the surface of a lake or something. Just watch that little paper boat kind of float out into the water, or like a lantern, a little lantern in a paper bag. In some ceremonies, we float this paper bag and lantern out into the surface of water. So allowing these prayers to float out into the vast stillness, spaciousness of the consciousness of the deity. And we begin. We offer prayers for Erin and her path of healing, and prayers for me as I cultivate and navigate a challenging relationship with my dad. Prayers for my dying granddad, Grandpapa Lev. May he have some relief tonight as he tries to sleep. May he feel the presence of love and care. And actually adding another small practice to this. So after we listen to and hear the prayer, taking just a slight breath in, inhale, and then releasing the energy that's been triggered, listening to the prayer, releasing that out into the exhale, and setting that prayer again floating into the stillness. Right? And just blowing the energy of that prayer out, like blowing a kiss. Letting go, letting that desire for the blessings that have been asked for begin to shape causes and conditions in the physical world. We continue. We offer prayers for my two birds that passed away, wishing them ease and comfort as they return to the earth. Offering prayers for youth who are struggling with depression, anxiety, internal battles, and other difficulties. Breathing. Exhale. Offering prayers for my late father, wherever he may be, but also feels very present now. And prayer for my mother, and prayer for all. Breathing. Offering prayers for my Zia Ida, who passed away this week. Prayers for those of us moving through feelings of despair and overwhelm. May we allow the love that surrounds us to take care of us. Prayers for my brother Colin, who is at a crossroads in his partnership. Offering prayers for my mother, for myself, and for healing. Offering prayers for Kate and Maureen, grieving their mothers, for R, struggling with mental health, and for Michelle, grieving her husband. Protection and blessings for Chief Arredondo for testifying and speaking with truth in the George Floyd trial. Prayers for Jane, whose wife of 35 and a half years passed away in late March for real in her new hip. Prayers for my friend Joyce, tending to her 96-year-old mom, Elsie, dying of spine cancer and having big problems with siblings. Big prayers for Elsie and the whole family, especially that the hearts of these hurting and unskillful siblings can soften so Joyce can be free to take great care of her mom. Big thanks. She knows we're praying for her. Offering prayers, blessings for Alex and Laura starting their new life together as married partners. Continued healing from COVID this week. Prayers for those beginning new cycles of healing. Continue to offer prayers for all of us who are struggling through COVID and pandemic. Offering prayers for those of us struggling with financial instability, houselessness, and getting access to important vital resources. We continue to pray for all those of us who are still struggling with being targets of violence and aggression and discrimination. And I pray for this ultimate healing of all beings from the cycle of samsara with its delusion and its pain and hatred and confusion and deep suffering. And we all may experience a liberation into who and what we really are, into our spaciousness, our divinity, our sacredness. May all beings who are perpetually avoiding their pain and their trauma one day be offered the blessings, the tools, the support to tend to their hurt, helping them not and to reduce the harm that they express towards others. Letting all of these prayers go and taking one deep breath and just letting all of these blessings, especially all the unspoken, unsaid prayers that we don't even know how to articulate, letting all the energy of those prayers go in the out breath. We offer them and we let go. Again, doing what we can to connect to the blessings of the deity around us, blessings of Medicine Buddha. As our discomfort arises in our experience, allowing this presence, this consciousness of the deity take care of what arises for us in this moment. Again, just allowing the blessing of the deity through stillness to arise within you and around you. Begin to slowly turn our attention to our mantra. And we'll begin. O te ata begenze, begenze ma begenze, raza sumunga se soa. Te ata begenze, begenze ma begenze, raza sumunga se soa. Te ata begenze, begenze ma begenze, raza sumunga se soa. Te ata begenze, begenze ma begenze, raza sumunga se soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazo sumangade soa, teata, 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 begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazo sumangade soa. And again, taking one more deep breath. And just releasing anything that we find ourselves holding on to, fixated on, whatever it may be, just releasing that energy in the out breath. And as we release it, we're also just allowing these blessings, or allowing this energy just to move out of our experience into the space around us, to be held by the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. So shifting our attention now to our seats, noticing the weight of the body making contact with the seat. Allowing that sensation of the body and gravity to ground us, bring us back into this moment, into this time. I'm coming out even further from the practice and just beginning to reawaken the body through some simple movements, some stretching, deep breathing. And we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer. You'll find that right in the chat box there. Okay, we'll begin reciting this 3 times. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all the sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the nurse. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all the sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Thank you, everyone, for your practice today. So I was just one question here. Can I share more about the differences between being in a relationship with stillness and silence? Well, stillness again, stillness is like the essence of silence, right? So silence, it can be, you can be sitting in a space. It's like silent in my space now. That doesn't mean that it's still. Stillness is an expression of essence. It's the expression of something much more authentic and direct. Um, Stillness is a taste of what we naturally are, who we actually are beneath the busyness and the chaos and the phenomena. It's the stillness. The stillness is the heartbeat of all phenomena, including deities, including us, including a chair, including lights. Stillness is the heartbeat of everything that arises. And to be in relationship to that is to be in relationship to the essence of everything. And to learn to trust that, excuse me, to learn to trust that stillness, to take care of you, to to hold you, but also to trust that stillness to offer you the medicine that you need. Right. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your practice. And please join us again for another program. Um, Continue to visit boomisparsha.org as well as my website, lamarod.com, for all kinds of programs and events that you can be a part of. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone.